Hey everybody, welcome to my channel. I'm going to be doing a top 10 frequently asked questions review for you because I do get a lot of repeat questions on different videos. So this will be a place where I can consolidate all of that and give you all the answers at the same time. So jumping right into it, I'm going to be reading these off of my phone, so don't mind me looking down. Question number 1. Do you really think it's possible to find a job without lots of experience or few projects, as you said? Also, could you explain how to create a portfolio? Okay, so the first part of that, how to get a job without a lot of experience, is that I've been on a lot of interviews in my lifetime. I will do a separate video on my interviewing process and tips and tricks that I learned along the way. But for now, I would say the best way to get a job with no experience is just to know that you can do certain tasks and show that. So how I accomplished this is actually through the course that I took on codecademy.com. They help you to build a portfolio, and then they also help you to find a way to host it online for free. So what they do is they use GitHub Pages. If you haven't heard about it, I would definitely look into that because I didn't have to pay anything for a domain name. I didn't have to pay for site hosting, but the catch-all with that is that anyone who goes to that site will then have your GitHub username and they can go look into your repositories and see the code that you've put out there. So if it's not very clean and it's not something that you really want employers to look at, maybe don't show it to employers until it's ready, or just go for it and hope they don't really go digging around. Question 2. So through the course, they gave us about 8 to 10 projects that we were to complete on our own. They would give us the design, but then it was up to us to code those websites from scratch. And so I will link below my link to my portfolio that I did in early 2018. I haven't updated it since, so it's not very pretty. I personally don't think it's anything to write home about. However, there are a lot of companies that are just looking for someone who knows something and is willing to learn. That's a big thing that I've learned. So I've had a few employers look at my portfolio and say, that's not exactly what we're looking for. And then I have had other employers look at that and say, wow, I'm impressed. Do you think you could do that for us? So never sell yourself short and definitely believe in your skills. If you know you can do something, put it out there and try not to judge a book by its cover. You don't know how employers are going to respond. Number 3. In my first video, I mentioned that I took a pro intensive course that is available on their website. When you go to the Codecademy site now, if you are a pro member, you have access to what they call skill paths. So you can choose a skill path that is active as of this date called Learn to Build Websites. That is a 10-week course available with your pro membership that you can take, and I did look into the course outline, and a lot of it is pretty much exactly aligned to the pro intensive course that I took 2 years ago, or 3 years ago. It's 2020. 2017. 2017 is when I took the course. So 3 years ago. As different things change, you can't expect an online course to be the exact same throughout the years. Number 4, I've had a lot of people telling me that they completed an HTML or CSS course, and then when they get to the JavaScript portion of it, they find that they are struggling a little. And a lot of people want to know how I dealt with learning JavaScript. And also, are there any other good resources that I used for learning? So in every single one of my videos, I have a list of my top favorite resources in the description bar. And as I find new resources, I go back and I update the other videos. Also, how did I deal with learning JavaScript? It wasn't too difficult for me because in college I took a course on Java and C++, and while they are completely different languages, they are object-oriented. So JavaScript is an object-oriented language, And unlike HTML and CSS, JavaScript is an actual language. Really, HTML is just structure and CSS is just style. But with JavaScript, you can make a website fully dynamic. And when you're actually speaking back and forth to a computer, that's when something is technically considered a language. It is a whole different ballgame if you're just used to HTML and CSS. However, if you just stick with it, I honestly believe it's not too difficult to get the basics down. If you can learn about variables and basic functions, then I think you'll be okay starting out. So that's what I personally believe is the best approach, is to get the basics down, understand the core concepts, and then when you get into a junior level position, you'll have a whole support team to help teach you and guide you and also show you in real life how these things are applicable. Number 5, I too am a student and want to be a developer. I'm much older. What are your thoughts? Any suggestions? I say do it. I mean, I'm no life coach and I'm no expert on other people's experiences. All I know is what I've gone through. And from what I've seen in myself and those around me, if you really want something and you know that you're capable of doing it, if you just put your mind to it, oftentimes it's just a matter of just doing it. Just set aside the time that you need to, maybe take your work from full-time to part-time so that you have more time to invest in yourself moving forward. If that's not a good move for you, that's okay because you still have weekends, you still have nights. Also, there are tons of apps that will help you learn on the go. I understand because I work full-time and I have 2 kids and a husband and a house, and it's a lot. I understand that it's not easy, but I don't believe that your age really makes it any more difficult. If you know that you can, why not? Just do it. Number 6, do you plan to continue your journey with Codecademy? If not, why? I do plan to continue my journey with Codecademy because they are really good at keeping up to date on the latest technologies. And when you're working in tech, you really need to be relevant and up to date and fresh. You can't just be using some old website that's just been out there since 2000. You just can't. And also, I really personally enjoy the learning environment. I like how the screen is set up into 3 panels. On the left side, you get the instructions and the description of what you're going to be learning. In the middle section, you get a development environment where you can type in your code. And then on the right side, you get to see the output of that code when you run it. It's all in one screen. There's no bouncing back and forth. It's all hosted online, so you don't have to download anything onto your computer. You can just pop on from your school or your work laptop and just learn. Codecademy is the only place that I continually put a little bit of money into with their pro subscription, but I find that it's worth it. And I supplement that with all of the free resources that are out there and linked down in the description bar. Number 7, are you a full-time developer? I am a full-time developer. That was my goal setting out with the Codecademy Bootcamp, and I have achieved that goal, and I haven't wanted to do anything else so far. The only thing is I'm not doing web development, I'm doing SharePoint development, but still I'm coding a ton, working with clients, a team, working by myself. I get a ton of experience in a lot of different areas. So it's officially my career. Like, this is what I'm doing now, and this is what I will continue to do in the future. Number 8, what are the requirements computer-wise? Personally, I don't think you need a fancy computer. If you want something like fully loaded with all the specs, like a crazy graphics card and all of that, go ahead, make yourself happy, but you really don't need it. All you really need is, I would suggest at least 8 gigabytes of RAM in your computer so that you can multitask, because if you're anything like me, when you're learning something new, you have like a million tabs open and you have your IDE and you have your browser going and you have everything on live refresh and maybe you got your Spotify in the background. So I would just say a lot of RAM so that you're able to do that multitasking and your computer can keep up with you. But other than that, you're not going to need a lot of hard drive space. You're not going to be needing to download a bunch of things, just a couple of lightweight development environments, and then just running your browser to get started at least. Number 9, do employers care if you have a degree? I don't have one, but I'm wondering if adding skills learned in Codecademy to a resume would get me a job. I think it's really up in the air. It kind of goes with what I was saying earlier, is to just put out what you can do. Don't lie. A little bit of fluff will go a long way on a resume, but don't flat out lie, because you're presenting these things to somebody who will be paying you for your services. So if you present yourself in a way that you can't live up to, you're gonna quickly find yourself out of a job. I have an associate's degree in information technology, and I'm going back for my bachelor's. And I have been turned down for a couple of jobs because I don't have my actual bachelor's yet. And then again, on the flip side, I have had some people at an interview enjoy the fact that I don't quite have my bachelor's, because they know that I'm still in school and I'm still learning, and that means I'm keeping myself current. So again, don't discredit a company. You don't know what they're thinking and you don't know what they want. Just put out what you have and just go from there. To the point of whether or not putting your online bootcamp skills on a resume would be in your favor or against your favor, I can't really say. There is a bit of a stigma around boot camps and can kind of paint you as someone who just wants to, get rich quick or just get in quick, and you're not willing to put in a lot of time and effort. So me personally, I didn't put that I went to Codecademy on my resume. I just put the skills that I learned. Then if I was asked how I started coding, I just say I went online and taught myself. And I think a lot of companies enjoy that because it paints you as a self-starter and someone who knows how to just get the job done by any means necessary. And 10. This one is a two-parter. What about freelance web developer? Is that something you've ever considered? If not, is there a reason? I haven't considered freelance web development per se, just because it's a scary realm for me. To go to a client one-on-one with no assistance and be able to anticipate their every need. Because when you're working with a customer or a client, they can tell you things that they want, but they might not always understand the technical side of it and what is possible. So you really need to be in charge of the conversation and guide them to things that you know that you can deliver on. Because once again, they're paying you for these services. So to me, to go into that world one-on-one, when I personally feel like I don't have the experience necessary, I haven't really considered it. This one is a bonus question. You have headphones on in the second video. Are you listening to music or are you taking calls? The reason why I'm so excited to answer this is because I just want to say I am not taking phone calls. I was in customer service for 5 years, taking phone calls and being cursed out on a daily just for doing my job. And I am very happy and proud to say I was listening to music. I put on my headphones and I zone out. They have noise canceling abilities. So much more blissful than getting yelled at by a customer who has not the slightest idea of what you do on a daily basis. I want to make that very clear. I don't take phone calls. Send me an email. If you have anything else that you want to ask, go ahead and hit that comment bar area box section thing, and I'd love to get back to you. Love sharing this information. I'll say it again, I'm not paid by Codecademy or any of the services that I mentioned. That'll actually be my 11th frequently asked question. Am I paid or sponsored by these services? No, I am not. Maybe one day in the future, but right now I just really enjoy giving back a little. Make sure you subscribe for more content because it will be coming. And I'll see you later. Bye.